Yes, I think justice has changed throughout time. Justice has been very dynamic. There's a quote by one of the current Supreme Court justices, Anthony Kennedy. I can't quite recall the entire quote right now, but it goes something like this. Justice is the foundation of our moral code. So if justice is truth in action, and justice is the foundation of our moral code, then, what is true today may be different from our truth tomorrow. And if we look back in time over history, we can look at times when injustice was done based on what people truly believed was the truth back then. And I'll give you a very personal example. Going back to, a decade ago, or certainly 2 or 3 or 4, or a century ago, you would never have ever heard of anybody talking about marriage equality. Do you all know what marriage equality is? Gay rights and discrimination against people on the basis of their sexual orientation. When I was in college at the Catholic University of America, I came out. And I never in my life ever dreamed of the idea of marriage equality. I never saw myself as having the legal right to get married. And so I never had dreams of myself as a married person. But the morality of our times, the times in which we are now living, have changed since what they were back in 1982 when I came out. So in 2008, I was able to marry my partner. So I absolutely believe that justice is dynamic and changes as people gain a greater understanding and a greater appreciation in here for what equal opportunity really means and what fairness expressed as truth in action really is. Well, I grew up in Tampa, Florida. Does everybody know where Tampa, Florida is? It's about 3,000 miles from here. On the west coast of Florida. And that's important to me because it's close to the Gulf of Mexico, and as a child I spent a lot of time at the beach there. My family history, my family is Cuban, Spanish, and Italian, and Siboney Indian, which are one of the indigenous people of Cuba. Tampa is a unique community because it is a community that has a very large neighborhood called Ybor City, which is where the factory workers who worked in the cigar factories lived and worked for many generations. And my family was among the families who lived in Ybor City. The first house I remember living in is in Ybor City. And there the Cubans, the Spaniards, and the Italians, along with Tampa's black community and Jewish community, lived and worked and lived very productively for many, 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 many generations. I grew up the first few years of my life in the house that my father was raised in on Ybor Street. And then when I was in kindergarten, just before I started first grade, my family moved to a different part of Tampa, to a suburb that was more American. But because both of my parents were raised in Ybor City and West Tampa, we held on to all of the family traditions that my mom and dad grew up with the exception of my parents teaching me Spanish. I learned Spanish at a young age, but my parents really wanted me to speak English well, and so they only spoke Spanish to me or to each other when they didn't want me to know what they were saying. So my capacity to speak Spanish is about as good as a 3-year-old's, which I regret. But otherwise, we were raised with a great connection and great pride in the family history that we have. There is a quote by the late Prime Minister of Great Britain named Benjamin Disraeli. And the quote is very simply, "Justice is truth in action." Justice is truth in action. And when I think about what that means to me, justice, what it feels like in here is knowing truly in my heart that everyone is being treated fairly and everyone has equal opportunity to fulfill themselves as spiritual beings in the world, as civically engaged, fully participating citizens in the world. And so that equal opportunity, that's kind of the test. That's where I'm looking for truth. And where I'm looking for the answer to this question: do you have the same opportunity to do the things that I do? Do you have the same opportunity to do the same things that he and I do? Do you have the same opportunities to make choices and act on those choices in order to fulfill your dreams? And if you don't, then that's injustice to me. And that's what needs to be changed. And I think that happens in personal relationships between people. I think that happens in family relationships. I think that happens in relationships among people in neighborhoods, in cities, and of course across the country and around the world. You know, I ask myself that question: does everybody have an equal chance, an equal opportunity to fulfill who they really are, who they really aspire to be, who they truly have the capacity to be? That's justice in action to me.
Hi, my name is Samantha Trancoso.
Hi, my name is Roberto Estrada.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Huerta.
Hi, my name is Jose Valencia.
Hi, my name is Eduardo Cerezo.